the way that that's being discussed today or enforced today, we wouldn't have even understand what it would have taken us forever to like, wait, what are you trying to make us do? Like, or we're making a game and like, what are you trying to do? I mean, it just was it would have been so foreign to us. It was just never something that we would have understood because it would be imposing some weird outside thing in something that is completely unrelated, making a game. This has nothing to do with the game. And, nobody actually said to me like, oh, good, you hired David Scully and Keith David because they're Black. It would be like, yeah, but I hired Keith David because he has the coolest voice in the history of video games and animation and movies. That's why I hired Keith David. And he's playing the Arbiter, which is a alien. He's not Black. He's purple. So I mean, it's just like it would have never even occurred to us that there's some check boxes we have to do in order to comply with some weird other standard other than how do we make the game the coolest game we possibly can. It just wouldn't have made any sense. And the good thing about me is that I'm not actually white. I'm Irish. So.
Well, I think
that was a joke. Okay.
No, I got you. John's like, can I laugh? Blabs is like, I don't even know. Blabs over here trying to figure out if she's Italian.
I laughed. I don't know if you saw, but I was laughing. I got it.
You gotta unmute your mic for some courtesy laugh.
I'm typing. You know
what? No, but with that said, I do think it's like you hired based off merit, right? And that's something that I think that we as a community and with side scrollers and this entire sphere that we're in, that's the one thing that we don't understand is why would you not hire somebody on merit? And I think that's the complaint by so many of today's gamers, which you see these massive AAA games launch that have this forced woke element to it that there's clearly some sort of diversity, equity, inclusion mandate through some sort of gender swap or whatever color swap or whatever it may be, that people are just like, yo, like, why did that need to happen? That doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't care if that person is Black, white, gay, trans, straight, whatever, as long as they're the best person for the job, making the best game possible. And that seems like in today's industry, it seems like such a backwards way of thinking, because it's, we're being told that people need to be hired based off of who they sleep with or whatever.
Well, it took me a while to even realize that this was a thing, mostly because I'm not as directly involved in building games as much as I used to be. So I was a little bit slow to realizing what it was, but Grums, which is, what's his name? His actual real name, which
Mark
is
Kern.
Yeah, Mark Kern. He's a little bit younger, but he's sort of my generation of building games, World of Warcraft and so forth. And Demian.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, is that what you said? So they invited me to be on a thing a couple months ago, and they really kind of let me know what was actually happening, and I'm like, wait, what's happening? Why is this a thing? But it did actually. I was on the board of a game development college, DigiPen in Seattle. So I was there to help start their music and audio department, and I taught a class there. And I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I don't care anymore. But anyway, we used to have these like biannual, twice a year meetings. And then at the last meeting I was at, where all we used to do is talk about like, well, here are the math requirements, and this is what you'd have to do to get a CS degree, and here's what you have to do to get an audio degree, plus you have to have this, and this. It was very serious 4-year, an actual accredited college, and it still is.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden we were being introduced to these people who were like, well, now we have a new department, DEI department, and these people are going to come in and explain what they're going to do. And I just remember going, well, I don't get this. I don't see what this has to do with me. I don't understand what their purpose is here. Like it doesn't make people better programmers or better audio engineers or better composers or better anything. And I was like, okay, well, I think I'm done. I couldn't figure it out. So I don't know if they're still doing it, but that's when I started noticing that there were these programs in ESG and DEI for all of corporations, and there were departments, and I saw what was happening inside Bungie and inside Microsoft or 343. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to make better games. That's the only thing I remember thinking. This will not make better games. And then, if a year or so later, I'm hearing about it, of how bad it actually has gotten. And all you have to do is look at the games that have come out as a result of this. It's checking boxes to satisfy some person who's probably not even a gamer. It's like, yeah, you're going to have a bad game, period.
Marty, what was the timeline on this that you first started seeing things at Bungie and Microsoft?
Well, I didn't see it while I was there. I mean, I was fired 10 years ago.
Right.
By the way, Blabs, that's another one. 10 years ago today, Marty was fired from. Actually,
today?
It wasn't today. No, it
I was
wasn't.
like, wow.
Happy anniversary.
Okay, so 10
I
years
might have
ago,
been seeing just the tip of that spear happenings, tip of the spear, for those of you who recognize that reference. It might have just been coming in, but I didn't see it even back, we got independent of Microsoft officially in 2007. So that is 17 years ago. We stopped working with Microsoft after 2010. So, Microsoft was always very corporate and had weird corporate things that they tried to impose, and we just resisted entirely. So, if they were beginning some of this junk back then, we wouldn't have cared about it anyway. The first time Bungie actually had its own HR department was after we were independent, and it was to call it HR is kind of a joke for a lot of reasons. I won't explain that exactly. Let's just say there were people in the HR department that partied really hard.
Went a little hard, and yes, for sure.
So it was always like, we need to call HR on HR. So, but yeah, it just was not a thing for 10 years ago. I'm fired, and then I get to start my own game company. And when we started Highwire Games, we were still going to have the same attitude. We're going to make the best game we can. We're going to make a game we want to play. We're going to experiment. We're going to do cool cutting edge things. And, the first game we made was Golem, which had the entire cast of characters were people of color. We didn't even consider why. We weren't trying to do that. It just made sense for the setting that we had made. So, and the actor we got, the father's really great actor, and I think he was half Native American and half Black. And the girl we got to play the lead character was this really great Black actress. And of course, I can't remember their names, which is horrible. But we didn't do that because, we need to check boxes. It was organic to the product we were making. So I just started seeing it with my friends back in Bungie who were still at Bungie. I started hearing about things that were happening inside Bungie that made me go, this is not going to make a better game. So
when your friends would bring that to you, how would they bring it to you? Were they like, yo, we had to be introduced to this thing today, and like, we have no idea what we're like. Walk me through what that was like when they came to you, because I'm sure there was a lot of people who were saying the exact same thing you were. Like, what is this? Why is this? How does this relate to making a video game?
Well, by the time I left Bungie, it was, I don't know, 500-600 people, which was insanely big. And then it ballooned up to like twice that. I think it was up to 1,200. And I started hearing that, like, there's this new department, and HR has gotten really bigger. And then I started hearing through the grapevine that things are changing at Bungie, and hiring practices are changing, and how we're approaching building the game is changing to make it up to snuff with current standards, to make it look like a really, woke company. So it would be very attractive to be purchased. That's the way I heard it. It was like, this is to make it more attractive to be purchased. And sure enough, Sony purchased them.
Wow.
Which is, so I'm like, okay, way to go, Sony. I mean, I was happy that Sony purchased Bungie, but I think my opinion is, you know, if you're doing stuff like that and you've lost your primary reason for existing, which is make the coolest possible game you can, the best possible game. And when I saw Bungie's slogan used to be, we make games we want to play. And then they changed that. And that's when I knew, okay, they have, the woke mind virus has affected them. Because John, do you know what the new slogan is? It's like,
I can't remember what they
to
changed
make
it to.
communities happier with each other and peace and love. And I mean, I
Right.
grew up with a lot of hippie friends. So the language of, you know, peace and love is like, okay, yeah, whatever, fine, peace and love. But like, it's this, instead of we make games we want to play, we make games to bring communities closer together for, I'm like, no, you don't.
Right.
Like, whatever the new slogan is, it made me realize they had bought into this new crap thing.
So it apparently is, we want to make games that inspire friendships.
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
I
But as
mean,
soon as I saw that, it's like, really? You're going to go out, walk away from, I mean, it used to be like, don't make us kick your ass.
yeah.
You know, kill your enemies, kill your friends' enemies, kill your friends. I mean, that was the Bungie way. It was, you know, slightly tongue-in-cheek, a little bit irreverent, funny. And yeah, we make games we want to play. That was the thing. So if you, as a matter of fact, the Bungie toast, when we'd have our like dinners, you know, Alex Seropian would raise a glass and it's like, okay, let's toast to us and those like us.
Wow.
And I loved that toast because it was honest. It's like, come on, you know, this fake, you know, Miss America speech. I just want world peace. I mean,
Right.
those are meaningless kinds of statements. So a toast where we say to us and those like us, well, those like us could have been anybody. We were open to everybody who wanted to make the same kind of games we wanted to make. Like, if you wanted to come in and make, you know, a Barbie's horse world, we were like, yeah, that's not what we make, but good luck finding another job. But if you wanted to make a game where you kill your enemies, kill your friends' enemies, and kill your friends, you're welcome. And we didn't care anything else about you except that you liked that. So that was, anyway,